Good morning, Tina Mitchell here, your local mortgage expert and your host of Coffee with the Superstar. Thank you for joining us this morning. My show is with real estate agents for real estate agents. I interview the best of the best in the industry so you can hear what they're doing and how they're doing it. And each week I travel to my superstar's office to invite you behind the scenes of their business. And I have to say, this morning is one of my favorite locations that we've done so far. We drove, Victoria and myself, all the way to Cleellum, because Kitty is definitely a superstar and somebody that I wanted to bring to you this morning. Kitty, thank you so much for joining my show.
Oh, Tina, thank you so much for making the drive. I'm excited to be here with you this morning, and welcome to Cleellum.
Thank you so much. It was such a beautiful drive. And the reason that because normally we're not going to drive to Cleellum for our superstar, but Kitty was so worth it because she does so much in the real estate space. She's actually president-elect for 2019 for Washington Realtors, so very excited for your role there. And a little bit more about Kitty. Joined the real estate world from Lending World in my arena.
That's right.
And she actually says she's never looked back. She is an active realtor and she manages the Windermere real estate office here in Cleellum, Washington. She loves selling as well as teaching and mentoring brokers in every changing world of real estate. So Kitty, again, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. And I'd love to start out if you could share with our listeners, what do you credit your success to?
You know, Tina, I definitely credit my success to being active in the community. We're not just realtors. We don't just sell houses. If you work with a good realtor, you know that realtor is active in the community. They're part of Kiwanis, they're part of Rotary. We make sure that our communities are good and sound, and that's what thrives the real estate market.
Yeah, and so share a little bit some of the community things in the real estate space that you're involved in.
Yeah, so I've actually been 10 years on the Chamber of Commerce. I actually just turned out of the Chamber of Commerce, which was kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
I'm real active with Hope Source, which is our local housing authority and food bank assistance here locally. Windermere is really big in giving back. In fact, Thursday we're having our scholarship night at the high school where we'll be issuing $3,000 scholarships to our local students.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Good. And what about challenges? What is the biggest challenge that you've had to face, and how did you overcome that challenge, Kitty?
You know, Tina, I think the biggest challenge of me is being too busy, which is a good problem to have, right? As you mentioned, I am the incoming president for Washington Realtors. I'll be the president in 2020. I'm also very active on our national level. There's a lot of things that people don't realize that affects real estate. For instance, right now, May 31st, flood insurance expired. We got
I wouldn't have known that unless Patty Hill in the studio on our show.
We got a 2-week extension on flood insurance. 2 weeks is nothing. We have to work really hard with Congress to make sure we get a permanent fix to flood insurance. So I think my success and that comes from being involved, but that also is one of my biggest challenges is finding enough hours in a day to get everything done. And I'm super passionate about it. I'd love to share with other realtors why it's important that you're involved, and we do more than just sell houses.
Yeah, and I think that's so great, Kitty, and that's why I wanted to come interview you. And I've had a couple superstars that I've interviewed that give back to the real estate space like you do, because I think it's so important to get involved, not just to get involved to give back to the real estate community and to the consumers, but really stay at top of the game of your industry. And I think when you're a leader in a space like you are, you're constantly trying to make sure that you're at that leadership level, so you're constantly bettering yourself. And we were talking before the show this morning about the importance of continuing with the education process, right?
Oh yeah, Tina, I never stop learning.
Yes.
I mean, I've been in a coaching program for over a decade. If there's a class that comes up, I make sure I'm active about it. This real estate industry and the lending industry changes so fast.
Yes.
And being proactive and being up to speed on what those changes are is super important, not only for your own business, but for the clients you serve. Knowledge is power. I've always believed that, and learning is something I thrive on for sure.
Yeah. Kitty coaches with Denise Slonis, and Victoria will make a link to Denise. Denise, a shout out for you and all the amazing things that you're doing. There are so many industry leaders, and I've had a lot of them on my show that coach with Denise. She just does an amazing job with the information that she has to provide. So if an agent is listening today and is just really excited about my next question, which is marketing, because agents are always looking, and anybody in sales, they're always looking for those great marketing ideas and how they're to take their business to the next level. What is your favorite marketing that you do for your business, Kitty?
You know, my favorite marketing is face-to-face. It's getting out there, being active with people. You know, there's so many disruptors in the real estate world right now. Technology has changed us to a new level. You know, many people say, you know, realtors will be relevant in 10 years. I don't believe that, because this is a relationship business. And the best marketing I do is get out of this office, get out there with the people, be involved. People always do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And when a realtor forgets that part of this business, they'll have a hard time surviving, because it is always changing. Again, the disruptors, as we call them, are out there all the time, you know, and to really have your relevance, you need to keep this a relationship business. At the end of the day, this is the largest investment somebody makes in their life, and being a part of that and sitting across the table and helping someone buy their first home or their last home. It's amazing. So.
And it's so true. So make sure when you have time blocked out in your day to do your touch points, which are ways that you're staying connected with people, whether it's your B2B, your business professionals, because each of you should have a targeted group that you go after of people that are doing business today, they can support you today, and they need your services today. It's really how you can one-time that lead generation and continue to get that recurring business coming in. Pick up the phone and call them. I make a lot of calls to real estate agents that I'm targeting that are doing great volume in the market, and I always say, if I'm just doing a checkup or a follow-up call just to let them know that I'm thinking about them, I always say, hey, no worries to call me back, I just wanted to touch base with you. And I never have agents discouraged or asked why I'm calling. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how consistent you are in picking up the phone and calling. People want to have that that contact. And I think also in doing face-to-face is being able to bring groups together and do different types of events and activities that you can help them create those relationships, not just with you, but with each other. Would you agree with that, Kitty?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, anytime you have the opportunity to bring other people in, you thrive from that. I mean, I've coached for a long time. I loved your One Time Your Business program as well. And having that just take you to the next level every day is what makes you better. It's what makes you a better realtor. It's what makes me a better mom. It's what makes me a better friend. Just being active and being able to help other people be that as well. So it's definitely what's attributes to my success, for sure.
Well, thank you for the shout out for my program. And if Kitty graduated from my One Time Your Business 8-week burn, you guys should join as well. Victoria will put a link on this post as well for I run the course every 8 weeks. So thank you again for that shout out. It's complimentary, 15 clock hours available for $99 if you need any clock hours. So Kitty, what about next step if somebody wants to take their business to the next level and they're in the real estate space listening to us today? What would be your advice and what they should do?
Surround yourself with people better than you. Right? Because the thing about it is, you know, I'll steal a quote from Rich Bergdahl, who's a great friend of mine and current president of Seattle King County Association of Realtors. He always says, if you want to be a better golfer, golf with someone who's better than you. And I believe that in real estate. If I want to better myself, I surround myself with people better than me.
So true.
And I want to help other people be that as well. Right? If you want to thrive in this business, get a mentor, get someone to shadow you. Never stop learning, because there is so much to learn all the time.
And what's the book that you mentioned to me this morning?
The 5 a.m. Club. So Robin Sharman, it's just great. It really kind of gets you focused. I mean, we all know what we need to do, but at the end of the day, do we do it? You know, life happens. I mean, and real estate's fast moving. I mean, somebody could come in the door right now and want to go see a house. So I got to drop everything and go show that house. So it's really about putting systems in place, one-timing your business, making sure that you have a routine that then becomes a habit, because that is what makes you successful.
Yeah, so true. Really think about how you are starting and ending your day day. I like to call it the bookmarks of our day. And I'm not talking about how you're starting your day when you get into the office to start your day, but how you're starting your day as soon as you open your eyes and before you step out of bed. So find those things that work for you. For me, I like to get motivated in the morning. Some people talk about a mix of motivation and inspiration. I don't do inspiration in the morning just because it doesn't, I can tell it doesn't sit with me, but it may you, so find what works. And the reason why is for me is I just want to get really fired up in the morning and ready to conquer my day. And inspiration actually takes away that fire up. And I'm a very inspirational person, but I save that so in the morning it's all about motivation, affirmations, my motivational clips that I blast in my bathroom when I'm getting ready and on my way to work every morning. And I do a refresh, what I call a refresh in the middle of the day, which at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I drive out and take a 15-20 minute drive where I listen to my motivational clips. And it's not to get myself out of a bad space or a bad mood. It's to keep preventing myself from ever getting there by taking that refresh. And then at night is when I do all my inspiration. I'm not going to do motivation before I go to bed at night because I want to have nice dreams.
Right.
So that's when I have all my activities of visualization and appreciation and reflection on my day. And so think about those things, because I think the most important time is what you do when you first get up and what you do right before you go to bed at night.
That's right.
And so I think the book will be able to help with that as well. Yeah. So Kitty, why do you do what you do? Why are you in the real estate business? Where's your passion come from there?
So the passion I have for real estate is that no 2 days are the same. No two clients are the same. No, there's no experience. I do not repeat the same thing day in and day out, which I love. I actually have a marine biology degree. I'm supposed to live in Hawaii and swim with dolphins, but real estate brought me here. And it's that's what's passionate. My passion for real estate is just always able to help someone, even in the downturn of the market. I mean, I did a lot of short sales. There was a lot of tissue on the table when I was dealing with clients. But those same clients are now buying a new home again.
Yes.
So helping people through that largest transition in their life is just huge. I mean, people don't understand the real estate, the housing impact that it has on the economy. I mean, for every home sale in the state of Washington, it's estimated that almost $120,000 is produced in our economy based back on that.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
Housing is such the center of everybody's world. And last May, in May, I was in Washington, D.C., and we were working on several legislative issues, as I mentioned, the flood insurance, but we were also working on fair housing and the Equality Act, making sure that everyone in this world has the right to own a home, regardless of your race, your color, your sexuality. That equality is a huge thing. So I'm super proud to be a realtor. I love it, and that's my passion.
Yeah. And so think about that, why you do what you do, and really step that back and figure that out, because it helps you to really embrace and to be the best that you can in your real estate space. And always having that why of, why you do what you do. I liked how you mentioned in the downturn where we had the shift in the market and the financial crisis, you did a lot of short sales. So I want you to think about that as well, because guaranteed, I'm not saying that we're hitting in a market crash, because we're not. I don't believe that at all. But at some point in time, we are going to see a big adjustment in the market, because that's the way every market works. It has it up and its downs. But if you can think about those down times, if they're really not down times, they're opportunity times, because that's when people really need you more than ever. Majority of your competition, most likely, just like last time, is going to exit the industry. So that's a huge opportunity, because there's more business for those of us that are staying. And again, your clients need you more. And what I always... it's interesting when we don't make mistakes very often at all, but we're not perfect, so sometimes we do. Externally, there's things that are out of our control, and something might not go as smoothly all the time as you want it to. But when there's something that goes a little bit not the way it's supposed to, and you have a chance to come in and really be there around that situation, you build better relationships with those clients than you do the majority that just go easy. And so the reason I bring that up, Kitty, is because in the market, when you say you work with short sales, which was the opportunity in that market. Those clients are going to be stronger and more thankful clients than any of your other clients that there was nothing that you really had to go through that was challenging. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And Tina, my market in Kittitas County is really a second home market.
Yes.
Nobody really needs to buy here. So when I work with buyers, I really sit them down and make sure that this purchase is right for them, right?
Yeah.
Because it's emotional. People are buying, they want to be over here, but the reality is, prices have really escalated.
Yes.
We're just an hour and 15 minutes from Seattle. So, people love to come over here, 4 seasons, recreate, but I really slow my buyers down a little bit and say, okay, are you sure if the market changes that this is financially something that's good for you? Is this, really going to make sense for you? And I think that that's what makes me a great realtor is that it's not about the sale. It's about the client and helping them make sure and navigate the whole process and understand really what they're getting into.
Yeah, and they can read that through the process when they see that you're really looking out for them. And that's a really good point because when you're working with, Kitty said this morning before we started the Coffee with a Superstar that 30% are primary owner-occupied properties. That's just crazy. I know we're kind of out in a different world here.
Yeah.
It's so great. I love it.
It's an awesome world. Come
It's
visit.
so beautiful,
Come visit.
so gorgeous, and the drive is just amazing. So you would have to have a stronger conversation around making sure that they can do that because we all know when things get challenging, the first thing that people let go is their second homes and investment properties.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Kitty, what about life outside of real estate? What are
Well,
you passionate about?
I like to think I have a life outside
You
of
do have
real
a life
estate.
outside real estate.
So I have a lovely 16-year-old teenager who's giving me a run for my money at the moment. But I love the outdoors here, so I love to spend time outside in this beautiful county I live in. And I've been married for 20 years.
Yeah,
so
congratulations.
good, bad, or ugly, we've made it 20 years. And so and as I mentioned, I still do quite a bit for the National Association of Realtors as well. So I'm on the national traveling team. So I've had the pleasure of being in 17 states already this year. I'll be headed to Alaska later this week, and I'll be in Arkansas and Colorado next week. So again, love that part of it. I love to share my passion with realtors across the country and really help them understand how lucky they are to be in this business and be able to help people the way we help people.
And how great too, being able to experience the country just for being able to experience, but also in your career and being a real estate agent to be able to be knowledgeable about other states as well.
Yeah, and everybody's different, and it's interesting, I travel a lot, and when I check something out, when I go to a state, I always kind of try to spend about 8 hours seeing something there.
Okay.
So I've had the opportunity to really embrace that. In fact, I have this awesome scratch off United States map in my office, and so every time I've been to another state I scratch it off and mark it off. So I still got a few to hit, but I still got about 6 more months, so we'll get there.
Wow. So if an agent is listening today and they want to know how to get involved and you've inspired them as far as taking a leadership role, what would be your suggestion?
There's many opportunities to get involved. I would start with your local association. I think it's really important that you are involved. There's things that happen behind the scenes in the real estate world that volunteers do that the average member doesn't understand that it's being done for them.
Yeah.
We have 22,000 realtors in the state of Washington that belong to the Washington Association of Realtors, but we only have about 500 who are actively involved. So that's not a good ratio.
Yeah, that's not a good
We'd
ratio
like to see people get more involved. So I definitely encourage you to contact your local association, ask them what you can do, sit in on a committee membership. There's everything from member benefits to my passion, which is advocacy.
Yes.
If we didn't have RPAC, which is our Realtor Political Action Committee, and advocacy, I can't imagine that we would all be realtors still because this industry would be absorbed up. I mean, from back in the day when banks were going to get into real estate to things like flood insurance. I mean, if those kind of things are not lobbied and taken care of, then it would be a very sad place for our industry and sad for our consumers.
For the consumers,
So I highly recommend that you get involved in your local association. Feel free to give me a call. I'd love to direct you and help you with that. But we need you to be there.
Yeah.
So that's the best advice I can give to realtors.
So think about that, and it's a win-win for you and for the real estate space and for the consumers, as Kitty says. But I don't know if you've ever felt this, but I've heard it before, that especially as a real estate agent, that you feel all by yourself. Well, if you get involved, you're not by yourself. You're building great relationships, lasting relationships. You're up to date on the most important things that you need to be up to date on. You feel a sense of pride because you're giving back to your industry and back to your community. And hey, let's face it, it's going to help your bio as well when consumers know that you are in a leadership role and participating in real estate.
Yeah, and the information you learn is something you pass off to your clients. I mean, many people don't even know that flood insurance is going to expire.
Yeah.
You know, so you think about that. If flood insurance expired,
we won't be lending.
Yeah. 40,000 transactions across the country will not close without flood insurance.
Yeah.
And people just don't really realize that. You know, they just kind of go, you know, and again, it takes some time.
Yes.
But here's what I can tell you from almost 17 years of being involved in the association. No matter where I am in the United States, if I was stranded, I'd have a realtor friend to call.
Yes.
And that's huge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the relationships you build, you can't buy that in a store. You can't learn that in a class.
Mm-hmm.
The relationships you cultivate by being involved not only pass off to you personally, it's a great experience for your clients that you're serving. So it's definitely worth being involved.
Yeah, and people know who you are. And you just, I mean, I wouldn't be here with you today if I was not involved in leadership and so connected in that space, because I mean everybody knows who you are over on our side. They do, because because you're giving back and you're you just have that level of respect because of all that you've been doing in the real estate space. So what inspires you or motivates you, or what has really made a difference in your life, whether it's personally or business wise?
I think again, it's about being able to help others, whether it's in your career, whether it's in something you volunteer in. Being able to lift somebody else up is fulfilling to me.
Yes.
Whether, and I try to instill that in my child, right?
Yeah.
Okay, don't be a spoiled teenage boy. Get out there and do something. Help someone. Mow the neighbor's lawn who, might not be able to get there and get it done. It's not about getting $20 for mowing the lawn. It's about helping someone else out.
Yes.
And I think that that's really what thrives me and really helps me put me to the next level and better who I am as a person.
Yes.
Is just being able to help others. I mean, and of course, we need to make a
do.
living.
Yep.
And that's great. But when you can have a career that is so fulfilling, that's really what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah. I always say when you're making a decision to do something, you have to find the balance of contribution and monetize.
Sure.
And so you have to have that balance of both. But just as Kitty said, monetizing doesn't necessarily, and a lot of times isn't the money aspect of it. So really look into that. And, I have figured out in my 51 years here on this earth that the gift of contribution, what I always thought it was the gift of contribution. But what I've realized is it's really the gift of monetization, or the gift that I get back myself because of that contribution.
Absolutely. And again, it's time consuming to be involved, and there's different levels. I'm not advocating for you to become president of the Washington Association.
But once you get in, it seems like people just can't stop, right?
And then it's so fulfilling.
Yes, exactly.
It's so fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, if you can lay your head on your pillow and go, okay, did I make a difference in someone's life today?
Yes.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's what it's really all about.
Yeah.
So.
On that note, I love it. My why is to wake up every day and be an inspiration to at least one person. And if I can do that, my day's a success.
Exactly.
So love that. Kitty, thank you so much for allowing me to interview with Coffee with the Superstar. Thank you for everything that you're doing and for your friendship. And just really, it was a real pleasure to come here and interview you.
Likewise, Tina, you and Victoria driving over here, thank you so much for that. And thank you for what you contribute back to our industry, because it does make a difference to all of us.
Thanks, Kitty. And thank you for watching this morning, this week's Coffee with the Superstar. Look forward to seeing you same time, different location next week. Make it a great day. Bye.